dacha ki temba nyame tupe wambe shabje dulu timame bala gowe rabdo de gosum pachimbu chansarshin japsun chiwo dacha ki pardin lama ridan jinkur janzu chabda kadin tsungba mi bitar chambon choki shabje dulu timame bala gowe rabdo de gosum pachimbu chansarshin japsun chiwo 다도 심지엔 탐제지 주 진제라블 제도 솔 받든 자벨라마 림보체 다게 지오르베미 덴줄라 가든 침부고네 제존데 고송 투지 무듭자도 솔 In this most auspicious day, the World Buddhist Conference, first of all, I wanted to extend my sincere greetings and gratitude to all of your holinesses, your venerables, and your honorables, excellencies, Dharma brothers and sisters. Although I am not there in physical sense due to the circumstances which I myself don't understand. But anyway, I appreciate very much for the honor of being the keynote speaker for this very important Buddhist occasion. I am approached by the organizers through the organizers here in India who organized the Lord Buddha's 2,600 year enlightenment occasion. And I accept it with honor. And now I hope I am able to fulfill this through this modern technology method. Transcending the negative emotion. Since this is the main title or the theme for this conference, actually, Lord Buddha's teaching in Vinaya, in Abhidhamma, in Sutra, and in Tantra, it is all about overcoming and transforming the negative emotion. Because negative emotion is the source of suffering for all sentient beings. In the First Noble Truth, Lord Buddha taught to his first 5 disciples the truth of suffering as the first noble truth. And as you put together in this conference's main theme, the relevance of Buddhism in the modern world, it is quite simple to my humble understanding. Just relate to the First Noble Truth. No matter it is 10 million years ago or 500 years ago or today in 21st century, you cannot find any sentient being who like to suffer. So therefore, it is always relevant. It is the basis of all the truth. At the same time, you cannot find any sentient being who don't like to be happy. That is also universal. And this truth of happiness and suffering, it remains same at all time. That is the basis of the teaching of Buddha. Now, when you talk about negative emotion, the negative emotion by definition is we don't like suffering. We like to be happy. But because of the emotion, greed, hatred, jealousy, and ego, due to all of this, instead of we are accumulating the cause and conditions of happiness, in fact, we are accumulating the causes and conditions of suffering. Therefore, the definition of a negative emotion, I repeat, negative emotion, because it is causing the suffering. It is the cause and condition of suffering, and each and every one of us don't want suffering. So therefore, it is called negative emotion. Transcending negative emotion actually transcend. There is very basic, simple definition, and there is much deeper definition. Transcend in a very basic way. We should disengage ourselves from being greedy, being angry, being selfish. So that is the basic very simple definition of transcending. My Dharma brothers and sisters, we request Buddha's blessing, and I request Buddha's blessing, that in this world may all sentient beings, especially all human beings, because we are actually the main force which is driving this world into present state for past thousands of years. So let us all pray that through the blessing of Buddha, may all humanity transcend from the negative emotion. May Buddha bless us. Now the second definition of this same subject, transcending the negative emotion, the transcending. Now actually, negative emotion is temporary, never permanent. Negative emotion is relative, never ultimate. For example, you can be, and I can be, and anybody can be relatively greedy. But we can not be ultimately greedy. We don't know how to be ultimately greedy. Same, we don't know how to be ultimately angry. We don't know how to be ultimately selfish. We don't know how to be ultimately ignorant. So that is very good news. That is very good news. So this way, ultimate is always beyond negative emotion. Having said that, right now we believe in this ultimate as essence of us, as essence of everyone, and the essence of everything, in fact. But beside the belief, technically, we have to deal with the reality. We have to deal with it technically and practically. We can't just believe negative emotions are not there ultimately. Therefore, we don't do anything. Absolutely not. Right now, each and every one of us in our individual life, at home, in the neighborhood, in the greater territory, and the entire world, and of course, universe. But I think we don't go that far right now. And in our world, all the sufferings, all the shortcomings that we see and we hear every day, and we know it is happening all over the world. The starvations and injustice and all kind of suffering that human beings, animals, every living creatures are facing. And sometimes even there is enormous conflict which takes toll on the life of thousands and thousands of human beings, beside all the other living creatures. Not only that, if we think about environment, when I was a child of 10 years old, I never heard of buying water, and not to mention bottled water. But now, today, less than half a century within this short period, we have to buy drinking water, bottled, and it became absolutely normal thing for most of us. 6 billion human beings on this earth. For most of us, unless those who can't afford, those who don't have such facility, those who can afford and who have the facility, then it became a normal, everyday routine. And this much change happens within less than half a century. Then how would this world be in another half a century? We should remember a newborn child of today, this very day, will be only 50 years old, when that enormous change, which we can't even imagine very clearly today, become a reality. And that time, it might be everyday routine, but if we look at it from today's point of view, we will consider that a catastrophe, environmental catastrophe. So this way, if we don't improve and, let's say, balance our negative emotions, then we only have one future. That future will be everything getting worse and worse, not better and better. So, keeping this in mind, we should take a personal, almost like a vow, personal decision we should make, that we will do our best in every possible way, in our own little way, to balance our emotions. Don't be too selfish. Don't be too greedy. Don't be too aggressive. So on and so forth. So with this kind of simple personal attitude, then we have better future. I don't know how much we can fix it right now, immediately, but over the years, another half a century, we can improve the present existing difficulties that we have in this world. I, as a Buddhist, follower of Buddha's teaching, which is considered widely as one of the world's great religion, we should respect every religion, because every religion and every ideology is of the humanity, by the humanity, for the humanity. It is the Prince Siddhartha, who was a human being, who attained Buddhahood, who taught the sacred Dharma after his enlightenment. And that is for all sentient beings. Of course, humanity as well. Therefore, Buddhism is manifested from the Buddha Sakyamuni, who is a human being of the humanity, by the humanity, for the humanity. I believe same with every religion and every ideology. Of course, I can't speak on behalf of any other religion except Buddhism, of course. But I have deep faith and respect and belief in the truth. And truth cannot be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Truth is manifested in many ways, in many languages, and in many environments. As a result of that, each religion might look very different. But truth is ever present. All of us have our own shortcomings. And these shortcomings we should recognize, but we should not dwell into these shortcomings. Our own personal mistakes, our own personal negative emotions, we should recognize them, but we should not get stuck with feeling guilty about them. Because if we don't do anything about it, just feel guilty about it, we cannot progress. So, no guilt, but regret. And make our best to not repeat them. That is the solution. Not feeling bad about it, not feeling miserable. That is not the solution. At the same time, the past, present, and future. Actually, future is not so much from planning. Of course, we have to plan. But planning alone, it will not prevail. Actually, future is the action, what we take moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day, year by year. Constant effort with mature common sense and genuine motivation, then that is the source of good outcome in the future. If we don't have that, how much we plan, how minute by minute, hour by hour, year by year plan that we make, it will not materialize. If that love, that compassion, that wisdom, that conviction is not there. Therefore, the importance of not waiting, but moment by moment, day by day, putting into action with the principle of love, compassion, wisdom, care. So may we take this as our principle of compassion, principle of love, principle of wisdom, and with that principle we live and we function. Let it be our everyday principle. Then we can say that we are fortunate human beings who happen to be the master of this earth for a long time. And now we become worthy master. Master who will make things better for all that dwells on this earth, rather than destroy this earth. We should not be the pest. We should be the worthy master. And key to that is care, compassion, love, wisdom, and be responsible. So that is one of the many solutions. But I could say that that also can be considered principle. Because as you put in your literature very clearly, not to dwell in the past, but to do our best presently, right now. So that is for the future. And if our present attitude and motivation is genuine love, genuine care, genuine compassion, genuinely we want everything to be in harmony, then what else we can expect in the future but better future? So better future is guaranteed. And also what you have put in the literature, the fear and anxiety. Yes, We all have our own fear and anxiety. We face them many times in our day-to-day life. But we have to know that fear and anxiety doesn't make us more efficient. Actually, they take away our efficiency. So, when we see something which causes us to be fearful, then let's take that as a positive discovery and look for the solution rather than just be afraid and lose perspectives. That's one way. And anxiety. Anxiety comes from lacking our mindfulness and awareness in the past. Because of that reason, then we feel insecure somewhere. And we feel anxiety and anticipating some not so favorable results. So this anxiety we should overcome by knowing if we have lapsed and lacked our mindful and awareness in the past. Then let that be a lesson so that we don't repeat that. We be mindful and aware at all time. And that's not so difficult to do because that is good for us. That is good for all humanity. That is good for entire living creatures on this world. So let us also maintain our continuous mindfulness and awareness, doing our best. And when something wonderful happens, we shouldn't get carried away. And we shouldn't become proud of it. We should appreciate it. And we should think of the unfortunate ones. So we can make our success and our glory to make their life better. Because we have the ability to do so. So we use our ability for the benefit of others. And when we are not doing well, instead of being fearful and anxiety, we think of others who are less fortunate than us. And comparing to them, we are doing very well. We should think of less fortunate. And therefore, we should not magnify and look at our own problem more than what it is. Comparing to so many millions of less fortunate ones, our problem is no problem. And this way, we can not only see the perspective of our problem, but we also can see the perspective of the real suffering that so many millions are facing helplessly right now. So this way, we can do a lot of things about it. And we have ability to do things, each one of us. As Buddha teaches us, our essence is primordial wisdom, ultimate freedom and liberation, limitless potential. So that potential is in us. That potential is in every living creature. Using Buddhist terminology, every single sentient being, every single human being is future Buddha. So we should know this. And after knowing this, then we can be diligent with everything that we do, but we will not be desperate, because we have faith and trust in the ultimate nature. Today, it is a very common thing that when some person does something wrong, something selfish, something negative, then people easily say that's human nature. Forgive me, but I must disagree with that. Human nature, according to the teaching of Buddha, human nature is primordial wisdom, ultimate freedom and liberation with no limitation. Therefore, doing something wrong is not human nature. Doing something right is human nature. So I want all of you to know that part of Lord Buddha's teaching. Now I go back to the origin. Every religion's essence, I believe, and definitely the essence of the Lord Buddha's teaching, is to help us, first of all, to become a better human being. And better human being, the definition is by having less negative emotions. Negative emotions in action and negative emotions in intention. So I pray sincerely from my heart, and I dedicate all of my merit and all the blessing that I received from all the great masters, the blessing of the Buddha, blessing of the Bodhisattva. I dedicate it for all, so that we all can be embracing the love, the compassion, and the wisdom as part and parcel of our life. Dharma brothers and sisters, may we live for greater happiness and joy and harmony in this world. May we live for assisting other living creatures to make their life better. And that way we can serve the Buddha. We can serve the Lord. We can serve our destination. Our destination is to be free from greed, to be free from ignorance, to be free from ego pride, to be free from anger, to be free from jealousy. That is the purpose of life. The purpose of life for everyone is to be a better human being. May that be achieved. Your Holinesses, Your Excellencies, Your Venerables, Dharma brothers and sisters, I wish you my sincere best, so that this very important Dharma gathering, World Buddhist Conference, will be successful in every aspect of its activity, and not only here in Kuala Lumpur, but it should bring back the message and the wisdom to all corners of the world. So humanity can become better, and future of humanity is not to decline, but to become better. So I believe in that. There should be many events like this all over the world. I know there is many events happening, and there should be many of these kind of sacred gatherings with sincere motivation and strong and genuine conviction. So I once again say that I'm honored to be part of this noble activity. And what I have shared with you here, honorable sirs and madams, Dharma brothers and sisters, this is worthy of a keynote speech for such an important gathering. Buddha bless you. Buddha bless you. Buddha bless you. I wish to dedicate the merit of this, whatever I have said, and whatever may have aspired and inspired from this, I want to dedicate this for the benefit of all living creatures, for their happiness and joy, and love and compassion and wisdom. Sunam di tamche zikpa tomne nibe danam pamje ne jegan nanchi balap tupai sibian solen jowar shu.